Yes.
Something just fell, and I'm not sure what it was.
So anyways,
There's a ghost in here.
we were Brian was asking if there was any video footage of the story that we were about to that we're going to be telling tonight.
That we tell once we're officially
Right.
started,
And unfortunately, the
which
story
is 6 minutes away.
Tonight's story takes place all the way back in the year 2004, and I mean,
I thought it was 1904.
1904,
Wasn't it?
Well, I if the story were about
This
you,
was it. Your great grandfather was telling the story.
that my great, yeah,
No?
this is
No?
no. This happened to
Okay.
me and Gothard and Genocide Rob.
But you were channeling your great grandfather.
I've never known my great grandfather to trespass. Although my great grandfather was a fan
Would
of
he-
bird watching,
would
and there could have
he-
been some birds in the tree, so maybe
Or how, do we know how old he was?
I could do a little math, but that I don't think this topic is relevant to the.
I know we're making stuff making stuff up and trying to come up with a real good story, right?
I'm done with this with this tangent.
Okay,
So
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay,
No,
I will
but-
connect to the stream since now we are.
now
We're not live yet, are we?
we are live, and we almost
are
had an
live.
official sponsor. We almost had an official sponsor this week, and I what happened was I because I've somehow I was invited. I didn't sign up for it. I don't know how I ended up on it, but at some point I started receiving emails from.
Oh,
some,
are you on the Twitch screen? Stream?
Yeah, I am. I see me. We got 2 views. I assume one of them's you and the other one's me.
Well, I'm not connected to it yet. Ah, there we are. I had to refresh the screen.
Ah,
Okay, here we go. I'm connecting. Do we have
Yeah.
a sponsor? Amazon Music Live.
oh, there we go.
Diggity dog.
At some point, I started receiving emails from Stream Elements giving me offers for sponsorship deals. And so I clicked on the link and I signed up for the sign in because it was free, and I was like, well, this could be fun for shits and giggles. Let's see if anyone wants to sponsor this mess of a show. And wouldn't you know it, every now and then they come in and they say, hey, there's a sponsorship opportunity for you. Now I there was one that looked pretty cool. It involved frozen coffee pods that you just add water to.
Where's Mars when we need him?
When's and so I was going to do it, and I thought I accepted it, and they sent me a slideshow presentation. I read it. I agreed to the terms and services. I downloaded Elements and generated a link, and I was going to talk all about this amazing coffee product this week. And then I received an email today letting me know that I didn't accept the opportunity quickly enough, and my and it had filled up, and my opportunity has expired. And so
Dang.
there must have been a finalized button that I missed on the page. So unfortunately, we are not sponsored by a company
I hate
that
it
makes.
when you're in some website and you're going to place an order and you go through this, put your credit card in there. Oh, you continue to the next page, and that continue in your brain says, I'm done.
Right, and then
And then you realize, oh, wait a second, that order didn't go anywhere.
right. So
That submit button is way at the bottom.
So somewhere I missed a submit or okay or let's do it Johas button that was on that page. And so we are not sponsored by a frozen coffee pod service, and I'm not going to tell you about where you can go and sign up and get a certain amount off on your first
And Mars isn't on anyway.
right.
He would be the guy that would do it.
And here's the thing that's annoying. The annoying thing is that because it's a frozen coffee pod thing, they come shipped like with dry ice to keep them frozen. So I can't like buy a box to try and split them up and send them to Mars. I'd have to order Mars an entire pack. And I love Mars, and I would totally do it, but I don't know if he needs that much frozen coffee.
Wait a second. What you do, you get it, you skim off your share,
right?
Pack it back up, and then send that off to Mars
with still frozen. I guess.
Yeah.
Why would I want frozen coffee?
Well,
what's wrong with that? There's something wrong.
Mars.
Well, but you don't know. Don't knock it till you try it, Mars.
Yeah.
No.
And Sparky.
I guess it's a good thing I didn't sign us up for that. Then I guess it's a good thing that.
No, don't freeze your coffee. It's gonna dry it out. What is your problem?
Well, no, it's
actually, a friend of mine would always freeze her coffee beans.
No, don't do that either. It dries it out.
Well, this is.
Well, I'm just saying. And then she would take the beans and she would grind them, and then
freeze them again.
Just a second. I close my curtains.
Grind the ones she's going to use, and then make the coffee with that.
Right.
And I've read all kinds of things that says don't freeze your coffee beans, but
yeah, it dries it out.
Some people just can't be told.
Some things say freeze, some things don't freeze. I think we're on don't freeze at this point, but I don't freeze. I used to freeze when they said freeze, but now I don't freeze because I've learned.
See, if you thought freezing would be good, then we'd be all drinking Folgers crystals, right?
Freeze dried with the flavor crystals.
Exactly.
There you go. Now, this was more of a concentrate type of thing, and it actually, a lot of it was visual because you get this frozen pod.
Isn't all coffee basically a concentrate? Because you don't just put a dab of water in it. You just
this is
put a lot of water.
This is like brewed concentrate. So you got like a frozen black lump in a thing that looks like a K cup, but it's not a K cup because it don't go in that type of machine.
Is it a liquid?
I think it's a frozen liquid. So
can I stick a straw in there and just drink it straight?
If you thought, yeah.
Well, you gotta follow it a little bit.
But,
or you stick a toothpick in it, pull the lid off, and you have a coffee pop.
There you go. So, but anyways, it was the type of thing that, and one of the things they said in the slideshow presentation is that when you demonstrate how to properly use the product on camera, to make sure you use a see-through glass mug, a clear glass mug, so that people could see the hot water pouring in and it brews into a perfect cup of
you see the bloom,
the best
hopefully.
frozen coffee you ever brewed.
No.
And, but we were going to tell you all about it, and demonstrate it,
Mark,
and all that.
Do you go for that iced coffee that's popular?
What do you mean iced coffee that's popular?
What, the Dunkins?
Oh, whoever. There's a lot of people that offer iced coffee.
No, I make my own. I make my French press, and before I plunge it, I stick it in the fridge overnight. And then I take it out, and I plunge it in the morning, and it's cold.
Yeah,
that's what I
do my own. I do my own. Sometimes I will if I need to go drive someplace and it's early in the morning, I might swing by a Dunkin' and order a large cup of iced coffee with some cream.
I just Googled, actually DuckDuckGo, frozen coffee pods.
Okay.
And one of the links, there's one called Lifeboat.
No, that's not the one.
Life Boost. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't realize there was multiple options for this.
And then there's one that's top 10 plus frozen coffee pods.
Okay.
There's at least 10.
There's at least 10. And one of them we were going to tell you all about, but now we're not. So.
Well, if you want to send it to Brian, you guys can drink the frozen coffee.
The deal's off. The deal's off. I did not finalize the deal soon enough.
And they will be.
Oh, I missed the beginning of your slideshow. I'm sorry.
See, I hate these things.
But
this actually is just an outfit that lists all this other things.
Now, Sparky wants to know if the coffee pods
top list of lists.
Sparky wants to know if these coffee pods are the same size as Tide Pods. I haven't seen them side by side, so am
I supposed to freeze my Tide Pods? Does that make it work better?
You could freeze your Tide Pod, and then you can throw it into a mug of hot piping hot water, and it will turn into something. I wouldn't recommend drinking it, but you know,
It would be a nice frothy brew.
This is getting really close to injecting bleach. I think we should stop this.
You put it in cold
Do not
water.
inject bleach, by the
Cold
way.
water.
That is not good for you.
No.
No.
Cold
No, it's not.
water.
We're
No,
not
the
even
cold water won't
suggesting-
dissolve the pod as effectively as the hot water.
Yeah.
We're about to get told to fuck off, I think. I
Ac-
smell it coming.
Actually, that's what I do to clean my bathtub sometimes. I'll take a bathtub full of completely super duper hot water, and I'll throw a Tide Pod in there and let it sit for a little while. And then I
Yeah.
drain it. You know, just enough for a Tide Pod to dissolve.
Yeah.
And then you just gently swirl the water around.
Now, here's the thing. YouTube will actively take down videos that involve the consumption of Tide Pods. So we probably should pivot off of this really quick because we do stream to YouTube.
Ooh, spooky Tide Pods! No, don't eat those.
They will
Don't.
turn you into a ghost.
Ooh, yes.
And of course,
They'll turn you into
if they hear
something.
you say break a leg, they think you're talking violence, and then they'll shut you off as well.
Now that is
That's just Twitter.
now, this is
Well, it
funny.
used to be Twitter.
So a few nights ago,
Actually, I had a friend that was just banned for something he said.
Oh.
anyways,
I don't remember what it was, though.
so allow me to get back to, because you commented on this tweet, so we got to tell this story, and I told this yesterday on the Dune and Johnny show. Saturday night we did a we did a 5-hit together, and so then after the 5-hit, I'll get ready to go to sleep, and at 2 a.m. this sound comes from a parking lot that is adjacent to my bedroom.
You know what I would do?
Is that a test signal, or
That sounds like a car horn. I think it's
is that like the test pattern in the morning, or maybe the TV station went off the air?
Maybe it's a tsunami warning.
there was no tsunami. That was just a car horn and a car parked in the parking lot
how
overnight.
far are you from the beach?
Not walking distance.
How far were you away from that car?
Not far enough.
Was there a baseball bat involved?
I think there
Or
was a
maybe an M80 in the trunk?
So
in
now
the, in
you
the
know,
hood.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Now you know why you got a good price for your house.
Yeah. So at
That
2
and the
a.m.
bad wiring that was done by a high schooler.
So at 2 a.m. Awoken by that noise, Gators typed the cheery text of, if a random car in a parking lot adjacent to my bedroom develops a stuck horn at 2 a.m. and no one stops it, how do I find the owner so I can, all caps, fucking kill that son of a bitch! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. That's the kind of mood I was in at this point.
And as I responded to your tweet,
Yeah.
it's amazing you weren't banned. I'm just gonna break a guy's leg and you're gonna fucking kill the guy.
Well, I think
How did that happen?
I have two theories on this.
Yes.
Theory number one is that your account was under double secret probation because you were previously banned for something.
Yeah, it was a 3-dayer, I think.
So that's theory number one. Actually, I have three theories. So theory number one is that your account was already subject to more scrutiny, and so whereas me, I've not pissed anyone off yet. Now, second theory is that someone may have reported your tweet because they thought that you were being
Because
sarcastic.
there was one guy on the planet thought that was an act of violence.
They thought that you were being sarcastic and literally meant it, and so them being
I mean,
in
it's
these
possible.
politically charged times,
No,
they
see,
say,
what
"How
gets
dare
me-
you?"
And this is what gets me.
Yeah.
Twitter does not tell you if a person reported you, or one of the robots caught it, or one of their former employees caught it, or one of their current employees caught it.
Now, theory number three is your tweet was directed towards an individual,
A public official, right?
Whereas my tweet
Yes.
was not a threat towards an individual. It was
Yeah.
towards a hypothetical
and,
owner of a car, which
Yeah,
is
you
a more
asked
of a
someone,
and
concept.
it wasn't a threat against, say, Jewish people.
Brian, Okay. First of all,
Yes.
did you have the person's name in there at somebody? In the
I
tweet?
was. I reply. I think I.
Okay, you replied to an at tweet, which means the
No.
person's
Oh no!
name
Wait
was
a
in there.
second. No. I did. I looked the guy. I happened to see the guy. Oh, this guy is running for office. I'm just gonna. Yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, see.
You know,
Wish
Number
them
one,
good luck.
Hit
number
the
one,
tweet at him.
public official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number two, any sort of threat whatsoever. Bots and everything will go right after you and just say, boom,
and
done.
a contested race, right?
So it was, even though you meant it as
You
an
flagged the
expression
system,
that
sir.
means good luck, it was
Yeah.
literally
It
an
flagged the system.
expression of
Yeah.
wishing
Yeah.
violence on a public figure.
Now, if it was just like break a leg, you could technically, if it was more than 3 days, what was it, 7 days you had, you could have contested that with Twitter and just said, yeah, I was actually wishing them good luck, but
Right.
okay. You can't contest that. If you think you're in the wrong, you can't contest it with Twitter.
How and where?
You email
There
them.
was no
You email
button that says. I don't have an email address for them.
send a
For
tweet
Twitter?
to the
Dipshit at twitter.com.
yeah, dipshit@twitter.com. That goes right to
I'm-
Elon's inbox.
Yeah.
That is
You know what I do find amusing. You see, but some guy's twit
yeah,
because he is a twit,
right.
and you reply, "Boy, are you a moron?" And when you hit the send button, it pops up and says, "Are you sure you want to say moron?"
Oh,
You
wow,
it
see, I
gives
don't
you a
get that
chance
on
to
there.
correct it.
Okay,
So I did correct it. I added the word crazy in front of it to be the one word crazy moron.
now,
And it took it.
which thing is Dune telling us to fuck off about? Because I've probably said about 20 offensive things by this point.
Yeah. Hey, Dune.
Hey,
And
Hi, Dune.
hey, dude.
Spooky, Dune.
Dude.
Are you having kids at the door?
Dude, we'll send Dune the link.
Okay,
if he
so
wants
I
to come
like-
in and you know,
And
we
tell
could
us
send
about it? Or
Yeah,
you could
he
text
could.
us.
Yeah, no, Dune is permanently invited to the show. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and throw that right over there. And yeah.
I didn't do it,
Did I have
Dune.
any issues with Twitter in negatory? The ban I had, which is a few months ago, that was a 3-day job, was just a couple months ago, and that was my first. Where there were lots of other people I knew, probably at that time frame, that were getting sent to what they call Twitmo.
So did you take as much issue with the other bans that happened in 2020, 2021 as you do with the bans now? I mean, I guess Sparky's trying to look for people being selectively angry, which we're probably all guilty of on some level or another.
Well, I'm going to say no. I think the harshest I've done in the past is either say, you moron, which now I get that little pop-up flag that lets me to fix it. And I have called certain people an asshole, and I changed the S's to $. So it's $,
Right.
HOLE.
That's one expensive
And
asshole
that-
right there. It's
Exactly. Well, it's usually some rich
well,
guys. So.
I gotta say, Twitter is a little. Today I was scrolling through and I saw a tweet, and this. In fact, I debated whether or not I should bring this up as a show topic or not, and I decided not to. And that's why I'm going to tell you about
do
it
it
now.
anyway.
Well, now you kind of, I kind of shelved it, but this conversation kind of brought me to it. So I didn't bring it here, but you brought my mind here. So basically, this is all about discourse and replies and human behavior. This isn't about the topic itself that I saw unfold on Twitter.
Sure.
Basically, it's an image showing one thing versus another thing, and it was basically like equality versus equity, whereas you see 3 people of different heights, an adult, a middle child, and a lower child, that are watching a baseball game over a fence, and they each have a box that they're standing on. Of course, only the middle. The older of the 2 children only needs one box to see over the fence, so he's fine. The adult doesn't actually need a box, so he's just up higher, and a little kid on a box, head still isn't coming over the fence. So that's equality where they all have a box, but they don't all need a box. Whereas equity is you take the father's.
That's showing.
Well, you got to let me finish talking.
Equality.
If this is one of these conversations, if you don't let me get to the end, we're going to get in the quagmire. So then the next picture of equity is the box is taken away from the adult, or given from the adult, or whatever verbiage you want to use. And so now the shortest kid has 2 boxes. All 3 heads are at the same level, and they can all watch the game. Now, I clicked on this, and I see a stream of replies, and you show replies that show the reality is that they all have their heads cut off, or the reality is that now there's a hole dug underneath the adult so he can't even see over the fence, so no one can see the game, or limbs are being chopped off because bad government, or, well, hey, all the people in the game, they all paid to watch the game. They're all trying to steal the game for free. Shouldn't they buy a ticket? Or then you got the people that are like, well, why don't we take down the fence so they can all see the game without having to need a box? Everyone's got their agenda they come up with, and no one's actually really.
And the promoter is coming out to charge them the ticket price.
Well, that one did. No, but everyone had their snarky comments about why that example was wrong and their example was right. But they're all trying to make different points with the same example, and it's just is that discourse, is that helpful, or I don't know. But that's just what I watched unfold on Twitter today.
It just shows, and you could have seen that 6 months ago, right?
I could have. I mean, heck, I might be way behind. I usually am.
So anyway, what all that proves is, right, you've got the original tweet, and you've got all these different responses. The equality in the whole mix is everybody has an asshole.
Yeah. But of course, Sparky comes in with the important question.
Did they all get free popcorn?
Did they all get free popcorn?
Genius.
You know what? If it was free popcorn day at the field, then the people standing outside the fence on the boxes did not get free popcorn because they were not paying customers. But everyone inside the park got their free popcorn.
What they needed was a guy on the inside that would grab popcorn, throw them in a bag, and just kind of hand them over the fence to the guys.
There you go. Someone kind of sneak a little popcorn out to the fence people.
And try not to get thrown out of the park.
And it's like, I don't know. I found a little. I mean, what's that?
Do they do free popcorn days?
I don't think so. I know they do.
Never...
I know they do Bat Day.
They do $5 hot dog day.
I mean, they used
5
to do
for $5.
They used to do Bat Day, where they would hand everyone a blunt weapon instrument as they came into the competition that they were watching. And,
by the way, the Home Depot in my area has a little concession stand in front, and their hot dogs are $5.
Ah,
yeah.
Costco, $1.50.
Yeah,
you get
and you get
hot
soda
dog and a soda.
Except I go for the Polish sausage deal. It's better.
Well, I like the hot links, a little kick in the teeth.
Oh, what you really want to do, Brian? This is what you need. Go to the back of the frozen food section and go get the habanero sausages. Those are really good.
Is that in at
the frozen
Costco?
Food section at Costco?
Oh, Costco.
Yeah. So go back there and get the habanero sausages. They will numb your face, but they are delicious.
Oh yeah.
So anyways, it's
Sounds
too bad. We were almost going to have Gothard on the show here this week.
What?
But
no.
But well, here's the thing.
I mean, no, he didn't show up.
Right. Gothard is actually in Boston at the moment.
What?
Because there was a family emergency that someone's in the hospital, so they're in the area.
That's more important.
Right, that is more important. Now that situation appears to have been pulled through and
good. I'm glad to hear that.
Recovery and things are looking. I mean, you never know, but from what I hear, things went well, and it's looking like we're in the recovery process. But but while he's in Boston, he kind of reached out and said, reached out to me on Saturday around noonish and said, "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "Well, the only thing I was going to do today was practice making pie crust, but fuck that. Let's go
yell
record
at the
shopping."
guy that's got his horn stuck on in
Right.
the parking lot.
Well, that happened later that evening, so I didn't even know I was going to be doing that.
Right.
Yet.
So from now on, you'll have a brick in the window, so you just chuck the brick out.
So Saturday I took a
Make
trip.
sure it's not one of the bricks from your house, but something that doesn't match. Sorry, I didn't.
So Sparky, on a lighter note, Halloween trick-or-treating is over. I guess 8 p.m. is cutoff time for him. So now he can enjoy the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups he got for the Rugrats who never showed up.
Yeah.
We've only gotten, I think I've only heard the doorbell twice. I bought peanut butter cups and the Baby Ruth and
hey, we
Snickers.
still have sunlight here.
Yeah.
We don't got Halloween yet.
And speaking of Halloween, I think it's that time again.
Wait. So Sparky had said something about the old Chrysler Plymouth.
Yeah, that's right. Their horns developed a problem that the foam inside the steering wheel button area would degrade over the years, and then the horn button would get closed because there was no more foam to keep the switch open.
Oh.
So that might have been what was going on.
Was it an old car as far as you could tell?
I don't know. It was dark out. I just heard it.
Oh.
If
you threw a brick at it.
I don't put on shoes and a flashlight in the middle of the night to go wandering outside. I don't have an outhouse. I don't play that game. Gator stays indoors for the night.
Instead, you have an out parking lot where the horn gets stuck.
That's an outside problem. Although,
so I'm actually curious. So you've got this parking lot next to you. Who parks there?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I think
is there a business nearby or something?
Well, it's a business, but I think there's also some of that area is parking spots for some of the rental houses in the area, because some of the houses in the area are like 3 stories that are split up into 3 apartments, and they're rented out a floor to a family or a couple. So I think some of that spot behind my house is actually owned by those houses and used for rental parking.
Do you think the horn was blowing until the battery's dead?
I don't know. All I know is that since I was up, I went to use the bathroom, and when I came out of the bathroom, I noticed it was quieter. I don't think it was gone, but it was quieter. And then I went upstairs to my bed, and I didn't hear anything anymore, so I went to sleep. So I don't know if that was because the battery ran out or someone finally came out there and beat that thing with a baseball bat until it stopped, or disconnected the battery, or turned it off,
or someone else helped it,
or broke into the car
and drove it off somewhere,
undid the brake and rolled it out into the street,
or matching the gas tank. Boom, boom.
Gators. My favorite is someone will send off an M80 at 1 a.m, and you'll get 6 car alarms going off for a little while.
Oh,
yeah.
Now I like that because I'm like, okay, there's 1, 2, and I can kind of count how many there are. But sometimes you get only like 1, and it's disappointing. It's like, oh, there's only 1. The nice thing is if they do it in the right spot in this condo complex, it'll echo. And it'll echo off a bunch of buildings and set off more car alarms. It's like skipping a rock. It's really good. Yeah, it's like skipping a rock. You get more turbulence every time it skips.
Yeah, and Sparky mentioned that the horn could have burned up too, so that's
Let's
always
hope.
a possibility.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
And that's better than anything, because then Gators doesn't have to worry about it ever again.
Yeah. I would like that. I would. There's a few other horns in this area that need to burn up.
Now, in fact, is there a sign in the parking lot that said, "If you don't belong here, you'll be towed"?
Yes, but it's spelled like the animal, so I think it's owned by a witch that magically turns people into toads.
Well, that would be fine. You kind of go, "Oh, hey, there's this car in the parking lot. Can you turn him into a toad?"
Yeah. That's how it works. You'll be towed by the bad witch.
Oh, that's
great. Speaking of witches and toads, it is the season among us again, which means that it was 17 years ago that this tradition of doing a weekly internet radio show began.
97 years ago.
It was 97, but it was 18 years ago that Gothard and I went on an adventure to the mythical land of New Jersey. And
Wow.
I mean,
Hey, I understand they have good pizza there.
they do the best, and we
At the
did
tree?
have pizza while we
The
were
tree,
there.
the tree pizza.
Because mind you, back
Treehouse pizza.
back in 2003, I moved up to Maine, and actually, was it 2000 or was it 2004? Sometime around there, I forget. I think actually it was.
Oh, Gators need some ginkgo biloba. He's losing it.
No, I think I had moved up there in 2004 because I think I was still relatively new to being in the area, like I hadn't been there very long, and so this was an excuse to get down for a weekend, hang out some, and throw a bunch of my shit that was still in my parents' basement in Jersey into the car and bring it back with me, because I moved up to Maine, and Gothard and I were roommates.
And they were roommates.
Right, we were roommates, and I was trying real hard to find an excuse for that.
I'm impressed.
They were roommates.
That's right, we were roommates.
That was a creepy one right there. That was spook.
So yes, Gothard and I were roommates living in the trailer up there in Maine, and I was like, hey, dude, want to come hang out down in Jersey this weekend for Halloween? We'll pick up Genocide Rob and find something stupid to do. And Gothard's like, well, I got nothing better to do this weekend, and may as well. So we got into my car, and we head out. And of course, the first part of the trek is to go from the middle of nowhere, Maine, to Augusta, Maine, so we can get on the highway. And we get to Augusta, and I realize I forgot something, and so I swung by the Walmart in Augusta and bought whatever it was I needed to buy. I forget what it was. I just know at some point we ended up at the Walmart in Augusta, and then we get back in the car, and we need to get back over to the highway. And I get to the top of a hill, and I get to a stop sign, and as I see it's clear to go, I move my foot from the brake to the gas, and I give the car some gas, and the car, instead of going, made a big clunk and moved up and down like half a foot, like conk. And I was like, what was that? So I put my foot back on the brake because at this point I didn't even know what was going on or if it was clear anymore because the car didn't go when I wanted it to go, and I didn't. So I wait for it to be clear again, and I move my foot off the brake onto the gas. And the car starts rolling backwards down the hill towards the car behind me, even though I'm in drive and I'm giving it gas. And so I had to somehow maneuver the car over to the side a bit so the cars could get around me and continue on their way while I put my flashers on. And that was the end of the transmission on Gator's first car, is what that was.
Dang.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. You didn't need that anyway.
Yeah.
I hear you can drive a car without a transmission anyway. You just have to learn how to downshift.
Yeah. Now the horn still worked perfectly fine on the car, but the transmission was shot. Now Sparky Toaster.
Now, was that an automatic transmission or manual?
It was an automatic. It was
Yeah.
a Mercury Sable wagon.
Woo.
In white. Now Sparky writes
Not
in,
that you've ever had anything like that before or since.
I found something pretty much identical to it to replace it.
Right. It's just that it was a Taurus instead of
A Sable. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Sparky asking, have you ever heard of wedding parades where people blow horns all the time? Well, that practice has burned up many a horn. In October 04, oh, what a moment in time. The most important question is, what is this? It has not moved on Johnny's table since Saturday night. Okay, well, now I got to go click the link and find out what they're asking about. They're asking about, that would be a capital city container tape measure, is what that would be.
Wow. You really got the good stuff.
Well, because I was one of the people that was tasked with clearing out that office after they shut it down, and they had these in every drawer, and so I grabbed them all and threw them in my bag because a good tape measure always comes in handy. So yeah, it's.
What's he gonna measure? Wait, what are you measuring? Are you measuring tables and chairs?
Well,
and
I measure all
tabs
kinds of things with it, but I
Oh.
think the intended measuring was boxes because Capital City Container made boxes.
Don't they have the little measuring thing on the bottom? They should just have the measuring things.
Well, I mean, well, if you're measuring what you're going to put in the box, so that way you know what size box you need.
You know what? You just jam it in there. If it fits, it fits.
Yeah.
Or if it fits, it sits.
But if you got a room full of different sized boxes and a catalog to look up what size boxes there are and what cubbies they're kept in, you can measure your thing and then find the best suited box for that thing.
You can't just eye it.
Now, isn't Uline the only outfit that has a catalog anymore?
I don't know. Does Tharco not have that anymore? I thought Tharco's
I don't
stock
think
box
so.
program would be go to the end of time.
I mean, how many locations are left?
Denver, Seattle.
Yeah, UPS just buy them out.
Phoenix. Do they still have a warehouse in Phoenix? Is that still open?
Possibly.
Portland.
Possibly.
Well, now Portland and
But
Phoenix
they're-
are just
but they're-
warehouses.
Yeah, right.
They closed Southern Cal. They closed Northern Cal.
Is Salt Lake City still open?
Yeah, was that a plant or was that a warehouse?
That was a warehouse.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, I don't know if the warehouse is. I don't know. Actually, I don't know at all. But I know there's enough locations that there's got to be one of them still around.
Right.
But they probably just got PCA on.
And
the
I
building
doubt
at
that
this
they
point.
don't have the. Yeah, I doubt that they have the Tharco name at all anymore.
Right. But apparently, as you put it, some of those box sizes were sacred cows. Like if anyone ever dared to try to slim down the stock line, someone would be like, "But I got a customer that orders like 20 of those a year. You can't get rid of that." Yeah.
Even though it's not actually true, the inventory hasn't changed in 20 years.
Just sell them extra bubble wrap. It's fine.
Anyways, it's enough of this tangent. So, so the car broke down, and luckily Gothard had AAA. And one of the things about AAA is not only are you covered if your car breaks down, but you're covered if a friend's car breaks down and you're a passenger. You just call up AAA, give them your number, and they'll come pick up whatever car you happen to be in.
That
and take
is
it
the cool
someplace.
feature.
Yeah, that is. So Gothard said, I'll just call AAA and we'll get your car towed to where they will declare it dead and send it on to the next life.
For everybody, just have a friend that has AAA and you're good.
Well, here's the other thing about AAA. AAA will charge you a nominal fee for initially signing up. And that's the way they kind of keep you from just letting it lapse and just signing up anytime you need it. Because if basically you can renew your fee every year without paying that nominal fee. But if you're signing up, you have like a $3 or $5 sign up fee. But I keep a AAA card in my wallet and I let it lapse long ago. So I haven't given AAA a dime in years. But if I call them up because I'm broken down, they will take my credit card number, they'll sign me up, and they'll ask me, do you need to use this right now? Yes, I do. We will transfer you right over. And so the only time it would backfire is if you let it lapse after your year of membership, and then within within the next year, you need it again. Then you'd have to pay that extra fee on top of another year. But if you only use it once every few years, you may as well just let it lapse and then sign up when you need it again. So that's been my my
now,
method.
do you use the AAA insurance, auto insurance?
No. I've stuck with Amica because that's what my dad used.
Okay.
And that's what he signed me up for when I got my car. And then I started price comping.
Have you ever did any price comparison?
I did price comparison, and I signed up with Geico because they came out cheaper, and then I called up Amica to cancel my insurance, and they said, well, why are you canceling? And I said, well, because Geico came out with a better price, and they said, well, what are you paying? I said, this, and I'm like, what are you getting with Geico? That, and they said, well, hey, we can give you this, which was like in the same range as Geico. I mean, I think like it came out to a few bucks more, but and it's like,
and Amica doesn't offer towing service?
Actually, they do, because that's right. The last time I renewed with Amica, I switched to Geico because it came with AAA or something like that. So I was like, well, Geico's going to give me it for this much, and theirs comes with AAA. And they're like, we got our own service that we'll help you out with. I'm like, oh, great. So you know what? I didn't even think about that because I haven't broken down, knock on wood. So yeah, no, if I break down, I'm not going to call AAA and sign up again, unless I'm an idiot and forget. I'm going to call Amica, and they'll take care of me.
Right.
Now, Sparky pointing out that if you are on a motorcycle, AAA does not cover towing. You need their special coverage for that, which is more. I would think it'd be cheaper to tow a motorcycle than a car, though. What the? You just need a friend with a pickup truck, right?
I had a Dodge van, and a guy wanted his motorcycle moved, so we rolled it into the van.
Yeah.
Tied it up. I think we had a person back with it to kind of
gotta get yourself to a phone, or well, just pull your phone out of your pocket. But
I mean, a motorcycle, especially a larger,
dude,
like a big Harley.
I need a favor. Bring the truck.
It'll be pretty heavy, so it's going to be, you got to know what you're doing when you're towing a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, or moving.
Sparky Toast writes that Johnny will call Mika. He will hear, office is closed. Please call back at 9 a.m.
Right.
With my luck, you're probably right. But anyways, so that's what happened to that's how the story of my first car ended. And so we towed my car to the mechanic.
Oh, you did tow it. I was going to say, did you leave it on the side of the road and it's still there?
No, we towed it to the mechanic.
Underneath an unusual tree in New Jersey?
We could have, but we towed it to the mechanic. The mechanic said, yeah, transmission shot. And I said, well, may it rest in peace. And we sent it off to that great crusher in the sky. And that was the end of that.
Did the guy suggest a price for replacing the transmission?
I forget. I don't.
Have you seen that little shop? And I think it's still there, right on the border of Hayward and Castro Valley. We do transmission transplants.
I don't think I've seen that, but I'll take your word for it. So I said, hey, Gothard, still want to get to Jersey? And Gothard's like, yeah, we'll take my car. So we hop into Gothard's car, and as longtime listeners of the show know, Gothard drives stick, and I don't, and that's been that was one of our little inside jokes for the first number of years, where we didn't we kept Gothard's little secret, but Sparky wants to know if we took the horn out of the car before it was sent to the crusher. No. I'm pretty sure it probably ended up making one last dying as it went through the crusher. But
they probably removed the battery out of it, though.
Yeah. No, I removed the radio out of it that I had put in it, which
was that SACD?
No, this was pre-SACD. This was DTS CD. Actually, it was two parts to it. Actually, a CD player that had a coaxial digital output.
Did you keep it, or did you crush it?
I kept it for a while, but I left it in Maine when I moved to California. Oh. And that was one of those things that probably got thrown in the trash, which is too bad. I had no practical use for it, but it was cool. Well, the CD player stopped playing CDs.
Well,
and
then
the DTS
was it just
decoder.
Player?
Well, it was a radio player that had a coaxial out, and I had this extra component that was a little DTS decoder that you would hook the coaxial input in, and then had the outputs at line level, so you had to hook it up to an external amp and hook that up to your speakers. So I had this big amp in the back of the car.
Oh, that's a pain in the butt.
Oh, that's right. I took that out, but then I put in. Then when I got my next car, I didn't put it in there. I that's when I got the DVD player that would play surround sound discs, and I put that in the car, and then I took that out for the SACD player. and then someone in Oakland took that out of my car and snipped all the wires.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah,
They were making your car lighter, so it goes faster.
Yeah.
So I have a prediction.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
It is going to take us longer to get to the story of the tree than it would be to drive from Maine to New Jersey
Well,
to actually see the tree.
well, let's look this up right now. So, at the time, I was living in Lincolnville, Maine. And we're going to look up the directions from Lincolnville, Maine to the Devil's Tree in New Jersey. Yep, that's the mountain road there. Okay. So let's take a look. And it takes 7.5 hours to drive from Lincolnville, Maine to the Devil's Tree.
That's going to be a
So,
long
folks,
episode.
What I'm saying is we are going to have a record-long show tonight.
Oh, I will mute and go take a nap and come back. I'm just saying.
I don't think that's quite accurate.
no, that's
Oh, okay. Just
So Gothard, so Gothard and I drive down to Jersey in his car, which means that only Gothard drove because his car's stick. He drives stick. I don't.
Why don't you drive stick? Do you know how to do it yet?
He likes holding things in his hand like that, And me, I'd rather not.
But you don't like stick?
well, remember our friend Dan?
Mm-hmm.
He always buys a stick, and when I asked him, kind of curious. Oh, when I get a stick, I go to the dealer and I tell them I need a stick, and when they ask me why, I said, "Well, I never learned how to drive an automatic."
That is a line.
That sounds like Dan.
So Gothard and I got into Gothard's car.
And they were roommates.
That's right.
Okay, Gators.
Yeah.
Before you go on, what is that from?
That's from a Vine.
Oh, did you hear that Elon Musk might redo the Vines? He might bring them back.
Oh my God.
He wants them back, so maybe.
And they were roommates.
We can watch this again on loop.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, you got YouTube Shorts now, so
Yeah. No. Brian, I don't know if you're familiar with that Vine, or Marge. Are you familiar with that?
No,
Vine?
I
I've heard
didn't
of
watch
many-
Vines. They drove me
I've
nuts.
been
They're too
listening to
short.
this show for a dozen years.
So do you know that Vine? You've seen that Vine?
I have not.
No.
I thought
Well,
Vines
usually
and
you just do the audio of it, so
Right.
Well-
Well, basically, the Vine is just this woman's walking down a sidewalk in front of this place on a phone call. So it's just like the guy just happens to be filming, and she just happens to walk by, and in the
you've
middle
got that
of
video.
well, you know,
You could show the video.
yeah, but
I-
then we're gonna be here all night.
I just wanted to hear the audio. That's all I wanted.
We're going to be here all night anyway.
We are. I you know what? 7:00. I'm leaving whether your show's done or not. I'm just letting you know this. I was watching the
Hey.
Smurfs holiday. I was watching the Smurfs Halloween episode. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, just to appease Brian here, we must educate our viewers on our inside jokes. This is one of these Vines that makes no sense, but it just tickles me to death, and I just can watch it on loop for hours on end. And it's just this woman that happens to be walking by, and the guy that just happened to be filming it and then react. And it's just one of those perfect moments of humor that is funny just for the whole sake of being nothing.
And they were roommates.
Oh my God, they were roommates.
That's all it is.
It is funny, though.
Yes, it is.
God, they were roommates.
She did not know that she's in the
No.
Vine to this day.
She has no idea that she's internet famous.
That's right. Wait a minute, where do I get paid, right?
and to this day, we don't know who she was talking about or why this was a big bomb drop, and they were roommates. I mean, that sounds like it's like a big reveal.
No, she says roomies, isn't it?
No,
No,
roommates.
she said roommates.
Okay, I keep hearing roomies.
And they were roommates.
See, roommates.
Okay. Well, she drops it off at the end, so that's where I get mine.
Yeah, well, she's plowing straight ahead, so she's coming out of mic range as that.
And they were roommates.
Yeah. No, I see that.
Yeah. So, Gothard and I drive down to Jersey, and I think at that point in time, Genocide Rob was working at a Lowe's running the cash register.
Oh, he
there.
upgraded.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was well. He couldn't keep a job at a retail establishment for very long because he wasn't going to let anyone push him around. And a supervisor telling him what they need him to do is a normal part of retail working. But Genocide Rob was not going to stand for anyone telling him what to do.
Oh.
So usually he bounced around from store to store for
Right. Okay, we don't need you if you're not going to do what we need you to do.
He marched to the.
Oh, by
beat
the
of
way,
his
we
own
want you to clean the
drum.
bathroom again because you suck at that.
Well, he found something he was good at and pursued that, and we all wish the best for him.
Yeah.
And he wishes to never hear from us ever again.
I did hear an episode with him on it on the automation the other day though. I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't sent cease and desists for these things still lingering out there.
Oh man.
Now, Sparky wants to know how old was Genocide Rob when he had this attitude. Now, mind you, Genocide Rob, I think, is like a year younger than me. So, we were in our young 20s at this point. We were like, actually, at this point, 2004, we were probably like, 23, 24, 25, around there.
Oh.
So
Wait, why didn't he have a girlfriend by then?
Oh, he did.
Oh, good.
I saw her once briefly.
Oh, did she live in Canada?
No.
Okay, just wondered.
No. He actually had I forget where he met her, but they were together for a long time, and I don't know if they're still together or anything. But because, like I said, he doesn't want to hear from. He's even blocked me on LinkedIn.
Oh my God.
He's blocked me on Facebook. He's blocked me on Twitter. He's blocked me on LinkedIn. He even though it does, what's that other site that doesn't exist anymore? What's the
MySpace?
MySpace?
MySpace? Yeah, he's got me blocked on MySpace, and it don't even exist anymore. You know what? He still has me actively blocked on AOL Instant Messenger, and they shut all the servers down. You can't even put a block. There's nothing to, but yet he still has a block. And now, of course, they want to know: does Genocide Rob's girlfriend have roommates?
And they were roommates.
Well, no, actually, Genocide Rob and his girlfriend were roommates.
And they were roommates.
They were, but not. Well, I mean, it's complicated. Sometimes they were roommates, sometimes they weren't. That had to do on whether or not Genocide Rob was employed enough to pay for the place, which also.
I see.
Actually, no, it wasn't the employment so much as Genocide Rob ran into some problems with the law.
Uh-oh. Was he?
Well-
Did he end up in jail?
Well, here's the thing: Genocide
Or
Rob
just
would
legal
go to the
problems
day he
together?
dies defending that the police had no reason to pull him over because those hood lights were totally street legal. The problem is that when the police pulled him over to check whether or not his hood lights were street legal, the police were able to determine that he was not currently insured at that time.
Oh yeah, jail.
So that
Yeah.
that type of
Inbound.
pullover doesn't end very well.
Inbound.
And that's the type of pullover that ends with you no longer having the ability to drive yourself to work anymore, and then that kind of impacts your employment, and that impacts your ability to chip in for the rent, and that ends up with you moving back in with your grandparents and finding a retail establishment within walking distance that hasn't blacklisted you yet. And that's how he ended up working at Home Depot for a period of time. But that's Gators is working really hard to break that silence and get a cease and desist out of him, like, ooh, he sent me something. He wants to talk.
Wow.
Through a lawyer. Now, Sparky writing in hood lights. Wait, I would only think wide vehicles could have hood lights, like Ford Raptor and semi trucks. Well, he had a Plymouth Neon, and
which is a really huge car. Oh no, it's not. It's not.
Well, he treated it like it was a huge car because he had a Plymouth Neon with what are those things that they put on the back of racing cars? That's like a thin
spoiler?
thing. The spoiler.
Spoiler,
Yeah.
yeah.
He put a big racing car spoiler on the hood of a Plymouth Neon, and
Why?
because he wanted to have the most ridiculous looking car that ever existed. So.
Wow. Was he
I
trying to
remember
rice
there's
it
a
up,
few
or?
odd cars in the Tharco parking lot.
What's that?
There were some special cars in the Tharco
Yeah,
parking
but
lot.
none of them came
Not
close.
that outrageous, though.
No. None of them was. So basically, Genocide Rob asked himself, how can I make this car a magnet to the police? And then he would do all those things, and then he'd bitch about getting pulled over for doing nothing wrong and being found out for not having insurance coverage on his.
Well, even something like a Camaro that's red, that's almost an automatic ticket.
I mean, the check was in the mail. He just it ran out. He got paid on a Friday. It ran out on Wednesday, and he had the check in the mail, and he's just waiting for the form to come in. But so it was and he ended up back at the home with his grandparents.
In his grandparents' basement.
Yeah, actually, he had his own room down there.
Eating Cheetos.
Well, I mean, when he had the Walmart discount, but that was a little awkward because he actually, you know what? He came back, mind you. When he first went down the shore, he got a transfer to the Walmart down there because he was still working at the Walmart in our neighborhood when he moved in with the girlfriend down the shore area, and transferred that Walmart there. And then the front end managers would call him to work the front end registers because that was their chain of command there. That the store managers gave the front end managers the authority to call people from other departments as needed. And Genocide Rob was having none of that. He wasn't letting no one tell him that he had to run a register when he could be goofing off in the electronics area pretending to stock shelves. And so he ended up walking out on that job and not.
Why did you just get transferred to electronics?
Well, no, that's the thing is that when you work in a department, you could still be pulled in to work a register when the store gets busy because there are times where the store gets busy and they'll open up more registers to accommodate them. I know it's never when you're shopping, but I have seen it happen from time to time. It's never when I'm shopping, but there are times where the managers actually go, the lines are pretty long. Let's call in some of the kids from the electronics department and the home goods and and you know whatever and open up a few more registers. And so they'll call us down, and people don't like that because no one wants to work the front end. The reason why they put in the work department on the floor is to avoid running a register. So that, and I get it. I always was like, I don't want to fucking run a register. This fucking sucks. But I went up and I did it because that was my job. And so Genocide Rob wasn't too happy with that. And so he walked out. Saying they kept pulling me on the registers too often. I can't deal with that. And then he went and I think he got a job at like some kind of another retail establishment in the area. But when he ended up back home, he was walking distance from the Walmart that he transferred out of. So he went back to the Walmart and said, could I get my job back here? And so they called the store that they transferred him to, and that store said, well, he walked out. You know, that came right up in the computer system. Like, they flagged him as a walkout, negative strike. So they sat him down for a little, like, interview for his job back. And the store manager asked him, you're going to have to explain to me what happened at that store. And he said, I just couldn't handle it. It's like, you got to give me a better reason than that. He's like, no, it was stupid. They kept pulling me. I couldn't, you know, so... They ended up giving him the job, but then like a few months later, he walked out again and then went to the Home Depot.
Why? Why?
To make a long story,
Oh my god!
you know,
To make a long story longer.
he don't. You know, here's the thing. I'm kind of ragging on him, beating on him here. He had a rough life, and he took a lot of shit from people in his life, and he reached a point where he kind of got rigid and like, I'm done putting up with this shit. I'm not putting up with this anymore. And so that kind of formed his person. there's a reason me and him were friends. It was because we both were were outcasts in our grades in school. We both put up with a lot of crap. We both were not accepted by our peers. We were both social outcasts. He took a more angry response to it than I did. But we both had a camaraderie in each other and were pretty inseparable for a number of years.
No, we won't.
And then he stopped speaking to me. But anyways,
Because he's a very close friend.
we were close friends for a period of time, and then we weren't. The show kind of ruined things. I blame him. He blames me, and that's that.
Whatever. Drama.
Right. Well, I'm ready to be over the drama, but he won't he won't even listen to me.
Well,
So,
when was the last time you were communicated with him?
before I moved to California. But I did reach out a few times from California, and that's when he basically blocked every attempt I made to kind of reach out and say, hey, do you think we could maybe open up the lines of communication and maybe, talk about the good times.
So that's where he would block you.
Right. If I ever try to reach out like, hey, we're on the bridge, peace and love, block. He don't even want to, fuck you, man. I'm not even gonna. Like, he's a more angry person. And, that's...
Maybe he was responding to you from prison.
No, I know he's not in prison. Pretty sure he's not in prison.
What has he been doing lately? Is he doing anything online?
I'm not going to go into
Where
that.
you can stalk him?
I'm not going to go into that. Well, he, like I said, I've not stalked him. I've only seen public profiles. He pursued a career in a field that was of interest to him that he spoke a lot about towards the end of our friendship. And I was glad to see that he actually did pursue that, because I kind of teased him about that, because he was like, I want to pursue this. And it was like, I want to pursue this because I want to be rich and famous. And it's like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, usually that's it,
And then he said, well, I was going to take some summer classes, but they were too far. And it's like, well, how much do you want this? If you want it, get your ass in the car and get down there this summer. And that's when I was kind of dismissive towards that. But then we fell out. Basically, we had a falling out because he was angry about me having recordings of past shows where he said stupid stuff he regretted. I wouldn't delete them. And not to mention, our personalities started clashing when we would hang out. And we would hang out, have a few drinks, he'd puke on the floor and laugh about how hilarious it was that he was a drunken ass. And I'd have to drunkenly mop up the floor and clean things up before I...
Would he
You
be
could
at
have
your
kept.
place?
You could have.
What's that?
Was he at your place when
Yeah,
that
well,
happened?
Well, I would come down to Jersey. He'd hang out at my parents' place. And not only is he disrupting me, he's disrupting my whole family. Because I tried to keep it low-key and quiet in the basement and let him crash on the couch down there. But then he'd obnoxiously laugh and stomp up the stairs to piss like a racehorse in the bathroom, wake everyone up in the house, and be like, dude, can you keep it
That's
down?
a loud pee.
Yeah, he was a loud, obnoxious... And mind you, I'm not exactly a silent myself, but I think I tried harder, but he might...
I mean, you woke up dude's dogs, but
So I just
you're not
reached
that
a
loud of
point.
peer, I bet.
I reached a point where one time I was getting ready to go to New Jersey, and I couldn't. I just could not call him. I did not want to hang out with him. We had so many arguments. We had so many bad feelings between us. I didn't want this anymore. I didn't want this drama anymore, and so I was just gonna kind of ignore him for a while. But he started pushing the issue, like, dude, what's going on? Let's hang out. I'm like, dude, I don't wanna. It's like, dude, we gotta talk about this. I'm like, no, you're really hard to be friends with, and I don't want to anymore. And so I think he kind of took that as I basically dumped him. So,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, years later, when I'm like, we did have some good times, and I want to reach out again. Fuck you, you dumped me. So I get it. He's entitled to be angry at me for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I wish he would reconsider and maybe. But
He likes his grandmother's basement.
yeah. Now, Sparky wants to know if his aim was good when peeing. Well, my parents never complained. My parents never complained about the aim. My parents complained about him talking to himself and laughing at his own jokes while in the bathroom.
Oh.
So it's not like explosive farts.
No, I don't think so. I think it was mostly peeing because we were just drinking so much. We just pee every like 5 minutes. So we go to Lowe's.
Isn't that when you get a bucket?
We go to Lowe's. We're like, hey, Rob, let's hang out tonight. It's Halloween. Let's do something. And Genocide Rob's like, yeah, I know this abandoned mental hospital. Let's go hang out there. And I'm like, awesome. That sounds like a plan. And Gothard said, no, I don't know about that. And I'm like, what's wrong, man? Man in mental hospital. He's like, no, man, that's. And I'm like, you know, I'm all for it, but I don't want to like get like hassled by the police for trespassing. So maybe we should find something else to do. And Gothard's like, I don't care about the trespassing thing. I'm just worried about the safety thing. It's an old abandoned building. You know, floor might give out, something like that. Someone's going to get hurt. You know, no. Let's. So basically, two of us outvoted Genocide Rob. And me and Genocide Rob had hung out at the Devil's Tree a few times before because it's one of the few things on like weirdnj.com that's really easy to get to.
I'm sure that abandoned mental institution Gators has been on a lot of Urbex stuff anyway. You know,
yeah,
people have been through there and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I love looking at the Urban Explorer pictures.
Yeah.
So
YouTube has tons of stuff. It's so great. It's so great.
We've reached the 9 o'clock hour, and we have had our first mention of we were going to go to the Devil's Tree. So, And so Genocide Rob's like, all right, my shift's up in the next hour. I'll swing by your place. We'll go there. So okay, so we go back to my place. I think we might have picked up some stuff at the liquor store or whatever. We hang out. Rob comes over. We're like, all right, let's pile in Gothard's car. Let's drive out there. So I'm in the passenger seat, being the navigator. Gothard's driving. Genocide Rob's in the back seat to be our designated idiot to say stupid things to incriminate us.
Backseat driver.
So we drive out to the Devil's Tree, and we park on the side of the road, and we're the only ones there. And so we're there, just a couple guys in our mid-20s. We get out in a red car, stick, a Ford Taurus SHO, and we get out of the car, and we're hanging out of the tree, just quietly, discreetly. We're not bothering anyone. We're not creating a disturbance or creating a nuisance or trying to cut down the tree. I mean, legend has it that bad things have come to those who tried to cut down this tree, as if it were like people were legitimately trying to cut down the tree. Now, there are like saw marks on the base of this tree from attempts to cut it down, but I tend to think that they were attempts from people who were not authorized to cut it down, and the bad fortunes that befell them was hasslement by the police for trespassing and trying to cut down trees that don't belong to them. Jose writes in, I remember this story on NHB. Yes, we tell it I told the story on my first broadcast on Halloween of 2005, and I tell this story every year now on Halloween. It's our tradition. And so we drive out there. We're out there. We're looking at the tree. We're hanging out.
And we are out to make this long story longer.
Yeah. Because Gothard has the link. Gothard might jump in, but Gothard's also hanging out with family who's, going through. There's a recovery. Things are fine, but, it's a stressful time for Gothard's family right now, so he might not jump. But I hung out with him Saturday, and we bought some records. We didn't go hang out at any trees, though.
Did you go to a nice record store then?
Oh, we went to 3 nice record stores.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, Mars says that the story gets better every year. So then we're hanging out at the tree, and about 10 cars pull up back to back.
Uh-oh.
And a bunch of strippers all get out.
That's a news twist.
Mars, you put the pressure on me. I had to make the story better, and I thought what would be better than 10 carloads of strippers showing up at this tree. And they're dancing while holding on to the tree, and they're
Hey, it's just like the new Twitter, right?
woohoo! The tops are coming off, and we've got our dollar bills out, and we're no.
Wow, I thought the devil's tree, not the stripper tree.
No. That was another time. That was the time that we went. That was the time we went to Torpedoes. I was thinking about. That was a whole different night and a whole different event, a whole different group
Right.
of people. And I'm not making that up. There was a story about a group of us went out to Torpedoes one night, and then
So
I
wait,
ran.
so wait a minute. We got to pick a date for when we tell that story. Make a new tradition.
That's
Is that
on
a
Valentine's
Thanksgiving?
Day.
Is that a Thanksgiving story?
No,
Oh,
no, that was-
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's
No. I mean, really, the only thing with that story was like a lap dance was like $20, and I reached a point where I only had $20 left in my wallet, and I was like, well, I can't get a lap dance now because it's customary to tip after a lap dance, and I'd be an asshole if I paid $20 for a lap dance and didn't give a tip, so I never got a lap dance. But
But I thought the trippers just wanted the tip.
I. Not the tip I had.
Not that
but,
tip. Whoa! Slide it in there.
No, that's how you get kicked out. That's when the
That's how
bouncer
you get
comes
kicked
out
out.
and shows you the door, and then shows you the pavement, and
Right.
then the
Yeah,
flashing
face
lights.
Plant, face plant. Oh my god.
No, we did not go to
Oh my
Torpedoes.
gosh.
That we should have just gone to Torpedoes. That would have been so much better than being hassled by the police at a tree.
But then we'd have a
Do they have
torpedoes.
do they have a good Halloween theme though?
I don't know. You know, Gothard would have probably felt a little out of place.
Halloweeny theme.
I don't know. The strippers might have been trying to figure out why is the third guy with them not tipping us? You know, that's
He's got no money.
he's not impressed by what he sees.
I like him bigger.
So yeah. Anyway, so I did not get the lap dance that night. But back to the Devil's Tree. So no, a bunch of cars pulled up. I think it was like 5 cars pulled up. A bunch of teenagers that are all out for a good time, out to party. So they all pile out of the car. Next thing you know, there's a group of noisy teens and us hanging out at this tree. And people are trying to climb the tree. People are cheering on. People are trying to climb the tree. At some point, Genocide Rob's like, let me get in on this action. He jumps up, climbs the tree a bit. They're cheering him on. I get up there. I climb the tree. They're cheering me on. And Gothard is kind of step back a little bit and is like looking at this. And he sees like the lights coming on of the houses nearby. Because he kind of noticed this is kind of an upscale neighborhood. Like, there's a lot of big houses here that are spaced apart quite a bit.
Somebody's gonna call the cops.
He had his spidey senses are going off. Like someone's dialing something, and it's getting to be dusk at this point. It is, you know, the sun is lowering. It is getting darker out. The crowd is getting noisier. At some point, people are throwing eggs at the tree, which was annoying because
Aw,
I
poor
go to climb
tree.
the tree, and if there'd be a point where I would need to grab, and it had like egg all over it. It's like I don't want to get
Why
egg on my
throw
hand.
eggs in a tree? It's not going to help it.
I don't know, but every year I tell this story, those damn kids keep throwing eggs at the tree. You'd think one of these years they'd get wise to it and stop doing it, but no, every year I get to this point in the story and there's eggs on the tree again, and I can't climb the tree up anymore because now it's all slimy and ugh. So at some point,
bring a ladder.
at some point, one of the kids there had their flip phone, was taking video evidence that could potentially have been used against us if the police searched these phones. But this was pre-iPhone. I mean, this is 2004. It was flip phone video. It probably couldn't even identify us on the videos if they took them and confiscated them. So, anyways, I kind of noticed Gothard is like stepping back and is like looking like he wants to get the fuck out of here. And I go to him like, hey, what's up? You want to climb the tree? He's like, we should go. I'm like, we should go? But this is kind of, we should go. Like, get Robert, let's get out of here. We should. So
His
I'm like, hey,
senses were tingling.
right. So I'm like, oh, hey, Robert, Gothard wants to go. Maybe we should go. I think we've kind of stayed our welcome. And the kids start breaking up too, and they start heading back to their cars, and they start yelling out like, where are we going to go next? And like, yeah, party at Jim's. Jim's? Are we going to Jim? Party at and of course, Genocide Rob yells out, no, party at Gators. Yeah, I'm like, no. Who's Gators? You'll find out. I'm going to be a big deal on the internet. But anyways, they all get in their cars. We get in our car, start up the car, get the car in gear. Just as we pull onto the road and start pulling away, cop car pulls in front of us, blocks the road, and orders us to show our hands. Also, from behind us, another cop car pulled off, cut them off at the other end there. So these two cops basically came in from either side to blockade in and block off anyone that was at the tree for maximum hassle. And so we show our hands, and this young punk officer.
And Genocide Rod showed his gun?
No, he left his gun in his other pants. But
yeah, he had his gun in his pants, in other words.
No, we had no. There was nothing in the car that we needed to be worried about. We were just a couple of dumb 20-something-year-olds came out to look at a tree. So this one officer, there were two officers that were dealing with the situation, and I guess each one of them had a car. And the first officer that came out was kind of a young punk type of officer who was taking no nonsense and wanted to, what the fuck are you doing out here? So he comes up to the window and he's like, what are you doing here? Now, Gothard played it cool. And if only I had followed his lead. Because Gothard just said, we're just passing through, officer. And Officer Pressing said, passing through from Maine? And what Gothard really wanted us to do was basically be like, we're lost. Could you help us get back to the highway? And that would have done it. That's all we would have had to have said. All we would have had to say is, we are lost. We were on 22. We took a turn, and we're trying to get ourselves back to 22 because we got to get to Hillsboro. And so, but I decided I am honest to a fault. And so I said, no, we're
honest
just
to a level of stupidity.
So I'm like, we're just, so I'm like, look, we're here because I live in New Jersey. We're visiting my parents. Your parents, where do your parents live? My parents live in Hillsboro. Hillsboro, that's nowhere near here. What are you doing here? This is the other side of the county. And that's when I said my dumb line of the evening. We're just here to see the tree, officer.
Don't.
And that was not the right thing to.
So that got his interest piqued.
Yeah, he's looking in the car and he's like, what's the deal with you two? Are you roommates?
And they were roommates.
But
yeah, at his grandmother's house.
Oh my God, they were roommates.
So, I basically, he goes, well, the problem is that tree there is on private property. If you got out of the car, you were trespassing. Did you all get out of the car? And we all got very quiet at that point because now we both are like,
except we got video on that guy's phone.
That's what I start thinking about, the phone in the car behind me that's got video footage of me like go climbing up the tree with all the strippers dancing around it. Sorry, that was torpedoes. It's a whole different thing. Police stopped us at torpedoes because the damn driver forgot to put the headlights on.
To make it better.
Now, Sparky's saying that Johnny, you should have said you were there to pick up chicks. I don't know that would. Well, the problem was all the chicks there were underage, and they were not roommates.
And they were roommates.
No,
and they were roommates.
No.
So that would have been a shortcut to prison.
Well, right. Well, that I mean, the police did make a little suggestion later on in the story about that. But anyways, so we all got really quiet, and he took our licenses and said, "You all wait here." And then he went to join the other officer to hassle all the teens in the 5 cars behind us. And I mean, really, these cars, I don't know. like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of cars. It was 3 to 5 cars, but it was like 20 people. So like it was like
So
clown cars when they
some
pulled
of
up.
the kids had a driver's license, some didn't. Or they were just
Yeah.
taking their parents' car out for a drive, or a neighbor's
Yeah.
car out
Well,
for a
here's the
drive.
thing. Right at the time, this was October of 2004, and I guess a little Googling could try to find the legislative driving rules history in New Jersey. But a rule that had gone into effect right around that time was this curfew that new drivers were not allowed to drive without a licensed adult after dusk or something like that. So like there was this like the first 2 years of having your license, you could not drive at night without an adult, in theory your parent basically, but someone who is old enough, something like that. So all these teens that drove out to this tree, they stayed out too long. They were now breaking the curfew. So all the cops not only had these teams for trespassing, but they had these teens for driving past curfew, and they had these teens in a position that they could not drive away from here. So this was a calling tow trucks and parents operation now for all these teens here. So they were really having a bad day at this point.
And they were roommates.
No, they were going to have roommates in the prison cells. No, they're probably just going to go down the station, call their parents, get a ride home.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were they were not having a good day. I keep hoping one of these years, one of those kids that was there hears this story and calls in. That was me. I was there. I totally.
I mean, you can't call in, I'm sure.
And that was my cell phone.
And if you,
I still have the video.
And if that was you, and if you were there that night, you can call in at 984-664-2723 to be live on the air and tell your version of that story and what happened to all y'all after the police were done pulling you into the station to call your parents.
Right
But-
on.
Yeah.
Right
So
on.
anyways, at some point, the older cop, he works his way through the crowd, and he decides to check out this other car over here he hasn't checked out yet. So he walks up to our car. He walks up to the window. He pops in, and he goes, "Good evening there." And he's like, "Whoa, you aren't a bunch of teens." It's like, "No, sir. No, we are not." It's like, well, what are you all doing here? It's like, we're just you know. And then this older cop, now mind you, he was no nonsense, but he was not as, you know, he didn't have a crowbar up his ass like the younger cop did. This guy was
a couple things in his day.
right. He was gonna hassle us a bit, but he was
The older
kind of like,
cop realized that this was going to be a lot of paperwork.
right. He was like, okay, these guys we can let go after we hassle them. So he's just like gonna badger us a bit, see what he can pull on a few threads, shake the tree a bit, and if there's no low hanging fruit, send us on our way. So he starts with me, and he starts looking at me funny, and he goes, "Whoa, what are you hopped up on?"
Whoa.
Now, mind you, we had not had a drink at all yet this night. We were saving the booze for the post-tree celebration back at my parents' place. So we were 3 sober 20-something-year-olds in a car looking at a tree. That's all there was here. There was.
Oh, so what you're saying is, officer, I'm just naturally crazy.
Right, exactly. I said, I've not had a single thing. He goes, "Oh, you might say that, but your eyes tell me a different story. It's all in your." I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, I did eat a bunch of candy earlier."
Well,
He's like,
my eyes were all dilated because you just shined that bright light in my
Yeah.
eyes.
and so I knew that if I got flustered and I got upset, I was playing into his trap. So I didn't get upset, but I didn't just take it sitting down either. And so I kind of looked at him and calmly said, "Well, you know, sir, I'm telling you, I've had nothing. You can, if you want to pull me in for any kind of test, I'll take any test you want because now generally I think you're not supposed to say that to the police. I think you're supposed to say nothing. Am I free to leave?
You know what? You know what? Sometimes it's good to surprise the cop.
So,
Here's an
Are we allowed to
example.
say? Are we allowed to
Short
say? Hey,
story.
all right, let's
Yeah.
let Brian tell his short story.
Short story. So a friend of mine in high school got his new license. There's this road that goes around the town. You know, it's a long ways off and there's nothing out there. except in the middle of this 5-mile long road, there's this freaking stop sign in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, there's this street, but nobody really uses it that much. Very not busy. Anyways, so he drives down this street and he blows through the stop sign, right?
Right.
But unlucky him, there's a cop right there at the corner. Cop pulls him over.
It's him blown right through the stop sign. I don't have a cop sign.
Cop pulls him over and says, "What are you doing? Or why did you do that?" And the guy just says, "'Cause I didn't see you." And that was the shocking story that got the cops says, "Okay, well, just have a nice day and be careful."
He thought about that after he let him go. Oh.
Oh,
I could have had one.
I could have had one. Could have had him, but yeah. So anyways, I basically just said.
Oh, Mars tried something.
I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, don't worry
Well,
about it.
if you think of it, let us know.
See, if you got in first, I would have forgotten what I was going to say.
That's okay, because we'll get it on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mars, you just tell that story twice the next time you think of it,
Okay. I'll do
Yeah.
that.
and that'll make up.
Or next year, it enhances the story.
Yeah. So anyways, like I just was like, I'm not taking anything, and I'll take any test you want me to take. Like, go ahead, bring it on. Because, that's white privilege at its finest right there. But generally, I think the word you're supposed to go with is, "Am I being detained, officer?" That line was not spoken once that entire evening. So we were just...
Well, see, I would never say that because I don't want to suggest that. I did talk myself out of a ticket once.
Okay.
You know that BART station out in... it's in Walnut
Fruitvale?
Creek.
Walnut Creek. Okay.
There's a Target there and stuff like this. Anyway, you go into the Target and there's a parking garage, but the streets are going in every which way, and it's complicated. And I turned down the wrong way on a one-way street. The cop pulled me over, and I just looked at him and said, "How much is this going to cost me?"
Oh.
And he let me off. Many times I've tried the nice guy, type approach. That has never worked.
Yeah, I've gotten plenty of written warnings. I've gotten a few tickets. The one that pissed me off, though, is the New York cop that asked me, "What did it say in your speedometer when you saw me?" And I kind of thought, if I admitted to going a little over the limit, he'd let me off with a warning. Instead, he signed me a paper that was a written affidavit of my confession that I gave him to be added to the record because, to be used as evidence against me if I tried to fight the ticket. That it was on the record that I had told him that I was going 10 over the limit. So that is when I really learned that maybe that whole being nice to the police is not a good idea, and maybe we should go with the Sparky Toaster suggestion here of
how about
am I being detained, officer?
Do you think this would work? You're there with the hands on the steering wheel and you're looking at them and looking at them. I don't know, man. I got white knuckles.
I don't know. So anyways, the old guy's just like, no, that's okay. We're not going to test you. But I know. I can see it in your eyes. And I'm like, what do you know?
I had a New York. I got a ticket in New York State on the freeway heading up toward Buffalo from Connecticut.
Okay.
And he pulled me over, and I was going fast. I'm not even sure how. He wrote me up at 85 miles per hour and says, "I would write it up for hire, but I didn't want you to pay too much."
Oh, that was nice.
Thanks, officer.
He did you a solid right there.
Yeah, did solid screw right up the ass.
Yeah. He used a little lube, is what he did.
A little, very little.
He didn't give you the reach around, but he did give you a little lube.
Lube on that piece of rebar.
Yeah. It helps it slide in a little easier. But We're getting a lot of the blizz here. We're getting a lot of that. Anyways,
Yeah.
so basically the old guy is like, all right, well, you hang tight. We'll figure out how to get you out of here. And he continues on. So then young punk officer comes back. I guess at some point the two of them are conversing, because then I hear them come back towards us, and the young punk officer saying to the one, then we got these guys from Maine. What the hell are they doing here? And he walks back up to Hasselus more. What are you doing here? And it's like, we just want to. So they're like, can we search your car? And so we said, why, yes, sure. Well then, no, before they said, can we search your car? He came over and said, what are you guys doing here with a bunch of teenagers? And that's when Genocide Rob said his stupid thing for the night, which I suppose there wasn't there really wasn't a good answer for this, other than, am I being detained would have been the proper response. But Genocide Rob from the back of the car goes, well, they didn't get here till later. And I didn't like that answer. That was because the problem with
But that's the truth.
That is the truth, but the problem is that, as we knew from earlier, if we got out of the car, we were trespassing. And if the police could prove that we got out of the car, they could hold us for trespassing. And we never answered their question when they asked, you didn't get out of your car, did you?
Yeah.
So we stayed silent at that point. That was one of our few moments of I would like to credit that to intelligence, but that was just, we ran out of things to say and couldn't think of what to say, so we had a moment of stunned silence. But at this point, the stunned silence passed. So when Genocide Rob said they didn't get here till later, that pretty much showed our hand that we had been there for a while, and it was probably unlikely that we were there just slowly driving past it. Clearly we were at the very least stopped there in our car. So that heavily implied that we had gotten out of the car and were there for a while. So I cringed as soon as he said, well, they didn't get here till later. But for all I know, the police were probably just like, well, at least we know now that they weren't together. This is two separate things passing in the night. But anyways, so I was like, oh, shut up, don't say anything. So then they're like, can we search your car? And Gothard's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And so they pop the trunk. There's nothing in the trunk, just some CDs or whatever. And they're peering their flashlights in there. And they're like, what's in that bag on the floor? Gothard's like, it's a shirt. Can we see it? Open up the door. Just put a flannel shirt in a bag to have something to wear if it got chilly at night. So it's like, they're
we're going to the beach, man.
Yeah. So they continue on. They go back over to the teenagers, work on more processing and booking those people that are having a lovely evening, having to explain to their parents that they've gotten detained for looking at a tree. And so at some point, after what feels like hours, the young asshole cop comes up to us. And he goes, okay, all right, guys. You all didn't get out of the car here tonight, right? And, so.
No, sir, I did not.
No, I did not know. And Rob, Genocide Rob, no, officer. Now, Gothard at this point, he was like, no, yeah, I know what you're, like a wink and a nod. So he went with sarcasm towards the officer. You all didn't get out of the car, because basically Gothard's like, oh, we see the game here. We all know we got out of the car. You know we got out of the car. We're just going to pretend like we didn't get out of the car so you don't have to do paperwork. So playing along with this as if he's being chummy with us, Gothard goes, well, not that I know of. Which...
a good line.
Yeah, that was...
He chose poorly.
Yes.
The officer didn't see the humor in that response. He did not like that answer. He's not that I know of. Not that I know. What kind of an answer is that? Not that I know of. Now at this point, Gothard just shut the fuck up and let him.
He's like, ah, crap.
He's like, I'm this close to letting you go off scot-free, and that's the answer you give me? Not that I know of? I mean, you all might be a bunch of kid touchers for all I know. That was the exact line. And at that point, in stunned silence, we all just stare at the officer with a look of, what in the motherfucking fuck are you talking about? Kid touchers. Like we're appalled at this. And that was the right response.
Good.
Stunned silence and a look of, what the fuck, man? And he threw our licenses back at us and said, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to ever see you around here again. He might not have said it exactly like that, but we all know that's what he meant.
That's what you meant. Yeah, right.
He might have not dropped
Okay,
the,
so as you're driving off, okay, see you next year.
Dude, they
That's
just
what
chased him down.
Story enhancement, right?
I mean, he didn't say get the fuck out of here, but he did say, "Don't let me see you here again." Or it's like, don't come back here.
So just make sure that he's retired, then you go back.
Hey, at this point, he could be.
Sparky
Or
just
maybe-
writes it.
Maybe he ended up in that closed down nut house.
It could have been.
Yeah.
Now Sparky says that the appropriate answer would have been, he would have said, they are not in our party of friends. That is how he would. And then also, Sparky writes it, no, officer, we can't get out of the car. Our hands are glued to the floor. That
That's true.
Yes. Either that your butt is tied to the floor.
Yeah.
Glued to the seat.
we are permanently installed in this car, attached to the seats. We are robots. Would you like a ride? I don't know.
Yes. We'll give you free candy.
Yeah. And
It's Halloween after all.
And the weirdest thing about that whole thing, the young cop, the old cop, they were roommates.
And they were roommates.
They were roommates.
That's-
Oh my.
so so then we took a drive back to my parents' place and proceeded to get shit-faced. And there was cheap sake because Genocide Rob bought the sake. And Genocide Rob, when he buy a bottle of booze, he buy the cheapest damn bottle of booze you could get.
Dude,
And
but
that's
why cheap sake though?
to make sure that we had the worst hangovers we possibly could have the next day when we had
Oh,
to drive
right.
7.5 hours
Yeah.
back to Maine. But so yeah, cheap sake, cheap vodka, free candy. And Sparky wants to know, did Johnny ever go back to that tree again? No, I have never been back there since that night. I have no reason to go to that neighborhood.
Is that tree
Next
still around?
year,
Yes.
next year, folks,
Oh.
Johnny will be at the tree when
Absolutely
we do
not.
this show.
No.
At
Now-
the tree.
Now, Brian, if I am going to go back, it won't be next year, but 2 years from now will be the 20th anniversary of said event. So, in 2 years from now, maybe we can try to arrange something. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold my breath because I really don't feel like getting hassled by the police again. It was bad enough to get hassled by the police in my mid-20s.
Technically, the road itself is a public place, so you can get out of your car.
Not
And you'd
according to
have be
these
ready
cops.
tell no, I am not on the private property. I'm on a road.
Well,
I am on the public road.
I think they could get you for obstructing traffic for that.
No, when you pull the car over, you're still on the road. You're in the shoulder, right?
Right. But once you get out of the
So
car,
you get out of the car and you're standing on the shoulder.
I
No, I did not enter the property. I am on the shoulder.
You know what? That you may be technically correct, but I do not think that would stop the police from pulling you in and detaining you and trying
Anyway,
to
at
make
this point, he's going to look at you and says, that guy's at least 40 years old.
Now, here's the thing. The tree has been seriously pruned and doesn't look anything like a menacing tree anymore. It's quite the in fact, here, let me pull up the latest street image of this tree is from 2019. And actually,
that was 2 years
yeah.
ago.
let me before
Share
I do
it,
that.
baby.
Before I do that, let me see if I can find some vintage pictures of this tree just so I can show you what it looked like back then. Let's see if we can find some. That's the classic one. Yeah, we're going to.
Share, baby.
All right. So here we go. No, that's the wrong button. Present. Da-da-da. All right, so that is what the tree looked like back in its heyday.
Oh, I love that tree.
That's a great photo of it. The black and white and it being kind of a silhouette with the cloudy sky. That is a spooky looking tree.
That's rdnj.com.
WeirdNJ.com.
That part is clipped off. So.
Yeah, the phone number's covering up the weird.
Well, you could drop the phone number and stuff.
Yeah.
We don't need any more. I don't think they're going to call us.
What?
Yeah.
They might.
So,
weirdnj.com. There you go.
So this is the most recent Street View we've got of it, which is from 2019. There it is. It's looking pretty wimpy these days. There's been a lot of
Well, okay.
pruning.
So switch back and forth a little bit. Okay, it's a different side of the tree, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I mean that looks completely different.
What's this other tree that's not in the so you see that tree there?
Well, this here I think is like this over here maybe because it could be the angle we're approaching it from or something. But
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, we could
Unless
be,
it's the thing on the other side.
I mean, it could be something like that. But yeah, you could see that it's not quite as impressive anymore. I think there's been some
Right.
serious pruning done to that tree because like this limb that came out here that was supposed to be
Maybe
the
there's some
hanging
die
limb.
off. Could be some
Yeah.
die off. Right?
Yeah, that tree's not in very good shape anymore. It really
tree.
isn't.
Well,
It's-
then again, this is like a summer shot, late summer. You see, you got the grass that's going brown.
yeah. Well, both of these. Well, this one's October, and I don't know when this one was taken, but so this is around
See,
the time of the.
there's no grass in the other one,
Yeah,
so it'd probably dry it up, and either they mowed it or they it just crunched down. Park
and
closed. It is actually a park.
now that I didn't know about. That sign was not there before, and there's a little path here to come. Now here's the other weird thing.
Oh,
This
you can
tree
sit
used
in
to
it.
have a chain link fence wrapped around the trunk to protect people from trying to chop it down.
Right.
Actually, I wonder, is this the same tree or is this the other tree that was next to the tree? I mean, is
They
this,
cut down the real tree?
I mean, maybe this is the little thing next to it, and maybe the actual tree is a
Is
stump
gone.
over there in those bushes. I don't know. They may have, I don't know if that's the devil's tree or because I don't see the chain link fence around the trunk and it's not nearly as, you know what?
So somebody may have successfully cut the tree down.
Someone may have.
So at some point, it doesn't need to be Halloween, you need to go visit the tree again.
Let's see if Wikipedia.
I mean,
has an
you do
article.
go to New Jersey a couple of times a year, right?
I do, but I usually go down the shore. The Devil's Tree.
Well,
now
it
there,
could be. Is it on the way to the shore?
not really.
It's not like New Jersey's a big state.
I'd have to get a ways off of the parkway to get there. It would be. Anyway, so here's a Wikipedia article about the tree. It says is, and this picture is a picture of it from 2006, and that also looks far more impressive than the image you're seeing from. Although this one, I don't think it. Oh wait, I think it does still have the chain link. If we zoom in on the trunk here, it still has the chain link around it. Whereas over here in 2019, there's no chain link. Are these even the same tree? I mean, there's a lot more limbs coming up from there, whereas this has. I don't even see stump. Well, maybe that's a stump from a limb, and there's. I don't know. I don't know if this is the same tree, but it's certainly. I mean, that trunk, it looks a bit narrower than this trunk. But then we got this mark here, which kind of course.
Well, I mean,
no,
it could be a different angle. It could be a different.
Yeah, let's see. Local legends suggest the tree is cursed. Those who damage or disrespect the tree, usually by urinating on it or making disparaging remarks about it while nearby, will
And
soon
the
thereafter
cops will
come to
pull
some
you
sort of
over just
harm.
like Johnny.
Why are you peeping
Yeah.
on the tree? Don't do that.
The township's plans to develop the land where the tree is located might have required its removal, but the township decided to protect the tree and keep it intact. In 2007, a sign was posted at the site stating when it is open to the public. The Devil's Tree was surrounded by a chain link fence following vandalism. So, yeah, this article, I don't know when it was last updated. It looks like someone added something on this page earlier this month, actually. But this article does not reference it having been cut down. So I guess that might still be the same tree. But wow, is that tree not nearly as impressive as the older pictures. There is less of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
not to be confused with Devil's Den.
No.
You know where Devil's Den is?
No, I don't know where that is.
That's actually in the Gettysburg battlefield area. It's a place where snipers would shoot at us.
So
it's a big tree. That's what it is, Sparky.
Now, of course, Sparky and everyone is suggesting I need to go back to see if the tree is still there. Now, Sparky also says, Johnny, if they pull you over when you go back, just pull up this video on demand. That's all you need to do. I just pull this up and hey, listen to this story that I rambled on about for 2 hours.
You have like you got like 12 copies of it.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Which one would you like to hear? These are the years. Which one would you like to hear?
Yeah, I could
Which
give
is a
them
good
the
year
choice.
for you?
Yeah. It's an oak tree. To answer Sparky's question, what kind of tree it is? It's an oak tree.
Why are people peeing on the tree? I don't understand. Don't pee on a tree.
You know, I never found out what happened to the kids that threw the eggs at the tree. They may have met.
Maybe they're still in jail.
They could be.
Could have been breakfast the next morning. Why did they throw them at the tree?
Well, the tree's got to eat, right? Maybe we're giving the
Trees
tree a
don't
little.
eat eggs. They eat like grass. They don't eat grass. They eat the soils and the waters and stuff.
And coffee.
Actually, people do put they put coffee grounds in their gardens actually for mulching and for decomposing and stuff. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, like I said, we go back to our place, and now my parents were a little. Actually, I don't know if it was that. Yeah, it was that night. That night we're drinking the cheap sake, cheap vodka, and we were doing all right at first. You know, we were browsing the internet for some stupid articles to crack jokes about, and kind of hang out, have a good time. And at some point, another friend of mine that I worked with at Walmart, he showed up to kind of see what was going on. So I hung out with him on the front steps a bit, was catching up with him because he was still working at Walmart, living in his parents' place, and I had moved out to Maine. And I'm like, hey, when are you gonna make your big? What's your next plan? And when are you getting out of the parents' place? What do you? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm just making you feel bad. And so he's like, yeah, you know what? And he was very much not a drinker because he had a lot of older siblings that he watched nurse hangovers the day after drinking. And so he decided when I get to be their age, I'm just not going to deal with that. So, you know, it was like, hey, you want to come in and have a drink? You don't even have to have a drink. Want to just come and hang out? He's like, no, I think I'm going to go home. And I'm like, all right, cool to see you. We'll catch you another time. So he left. And I turn around, and there at the door is the drunkest I had ever seen Gothard. He's got this drunk grin on his face. He's here with Robert, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And they're like, Saki! And I'm like, oh no, Gothard, you were supposed to stay sober to keep help me keep Genocide Rob in check. And I'm like, oh my God, I got two drunken friends, and I'm drunk, and we're all just like drunken idiots.
That's when you
Not
leave you guys
going
in the basement.
anywhere.
So
Leave you guys in the basement, lock the door, and say, look, there's a drain hole right there if you have to go.
So at some point, Genocide Rob goes to use the bathroom. And I'm like, Gothard, what are we going to do? He's like, I'm not as bad as you think. I'm like, I don't know. You're pretty drunk. He's like, dude, Genocide Rob's vodka bottle? I'm like, yeah, what about it? Glug, 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 down the drain. I filled it with water. I'm like, you're a genius. And Genocide Rob gets out of the bathroom. Where's the vodka bottle? Grabs the vodka bottle, pours a shot, takes a shot, makes a face. He has no idea. It's just fucking water.
That's good. He got hydration. He
Yeah.
probably didn't even have a hangover that next morning. That's
No,
great.
I don't know. We're still pretty hungover the next morning. I don't know about Rob, but so at some point though, we were also trying to at some point just hang out mostly in the porch to try to keep the noise away because my parents really didn't want to be up all hours of the night with us making noise. So they kind of asked me, "Hey, John, could you try to keep it down tonight when you're hanging out with Robert?" And so I'm like, "All right, let's go out on the porch." The problem with going out on the porch was that every time one of us had to pee, we had to open and close the sliding glass door. And as I've stated before, Genocide Rob is a loud peer and a loud walker to the bathroom and a loud user of bathroom door and toilet and loud user of sliding glass door. So whoop, whoop, whoop. The whole night, all they hear was the sliding glass door open and close, open and close, open and close. And
Just
then-
find a bush.
yeah. Well, at some point, Genocide Rob found a tree, a dogwood tree in our backyard. But he didn't pee on the tree. He puked all over the tree. Did I say Genocide Rob? I meant Gothard. Gothard is a lightweight, and the cheap sake he drank too. So he spent a good half hour to an hour hanging over the railing of the deck, just puking onto our dogwood tree in the backyard, which I think makes for good fertilizer. That tree grew pretty good that following year. And so
Yeah.
the next morning, so we at some point we crashed, got to sleep, woke up the next morning, shaking the cobwebs out, nursing a hangover, and the worst part was for Gothard had to drive us back to Maine, 7.5 to 8 hours,
With a
And-
hangover.
and it was his car, and he's the only one of us that knows how to drive stick, so he had to drive the whole way. And so I got to nurse my hangover in the passenger seat, nodding off. And we just listened to the entire Steely Dan Decade box set, beginning to end, all 4 discs, the entire drive back. Because as Gothard put it,
Beep, beep. Paging Dune. Paging
Ah.
Dune.
You know what? That wasn't a
Go
bad
to a
box.
white
I like
paging
Steely
telephone.
yeah, no, as Gothard put it, Steely Dan's probably is pretty good hangover music.
Dan. Oh, I just like Steely Dan, but never mind.
Yeah. Well, it's good for not hangover music too, but they make good hangover music.
What's
So-
is there a favorite tune among them?
Well,
of the
my-
Steely Dan stuff.
Gothard and I's personal favorite Steely Dan song would be "King of the World."
Huh?
So that would
For a hangover? That doesn't sound right.
no, not for a hangover, just in general. I didn't. I
No,
don't,
but hangover music. Deacon Blues.
Deacon Blues would be a good hangover tune. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would-
yeah.
I think
See,
that would,
there we go.
You know, a little Deacon Blues, nurse the hangover. Kind of
I love
nice.
that
little-
song.
Yeah. Yeah, that works for a hangover. But you know, just kind of a little mellow. But we listen to it all. We listen to it all, begin to end.
Oh yeah.
Now, you know, I really wish that I don't know if Dune's here or not, because as you
There
know,
he is.
as you know, we can't see the messages that are typed in parentheses. That
Oh
hides it
yeah,
from the
yeah.
host.
That's right. No, I
So,
think you're right. I think he's not
I
here.
feel like he could be out there. I had that sense, but I feel that he's probably doing something sneaky like that. I don't know what would happen if I clicked on this part of the screen. I just something told me I should, but I don't tell him I can see that. But that's
I won't say anything.
all right. So
Oh, actually, I wonder where Dune is today.
I don't know.
He's always in different places. He could be in Topeka, Kansas, or Walla Walla, Washington.
Yeah, could be. But
Wow.
that just happened. So I still don't know what he got mad about.
Then that's, you know what? It's
Oh.
fine. Never mind.
Well, sometimes I say the
Maybe
thing.
maybe he just had to go pee.
Sometimes I say the things that I think are going to piss him off, and he doesn't react. And sometimes I say the thing that I feel like I have neutralized with an objective comment, and he storms off. And but maybe he doesn't really storm off. Maybe I think he storms off.
Yeah, could be.
Oh,
Maybe
internets
he had
are
puppy
weird.
duty.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Or maybe he secretly doesn't like coffee.
oh my
What?
God, that's
I
blasphemy
don't think
right
that's
there.
true. I've heard him say that he wakes up at 5 a.m. with his cup of coffee.
Yeah, but have you ever
So-
seen him with a cup of coffee?
I don't have you.
Come to think of it, I don't know. I've been there for breakfast.
You know what?
And I remember seeing plates of eggs and pancakes and sausage, and you know it's a good breakfast when you're grilling up eggs and pancakes. But I don't.
Oh yeah.
And I must have had a cup of coffee, but I don't know if I saw him having coffee.
I'm just saying. If he says he wakes up at 5 a.m. with a cup of coffee, I believe him.
Yeah. No. Why would no? Who would lie about liking coffee? That would be. You know what? That would be the real like. That would be the major plot twist for our last show. We find out that all these years Mars doesn't drink coffee.
Blasphemy.
The other
Well,
major.
the other night, what was it, 11 or 12 o'clock at night? You said coffee on Twitter?
Yeah, probably.
You know what the other plot twist? Turns out all three of us are all living together and we're all roommates.
And they were roommates.
That's
God,
more
they were
blasphemy right there.
roommates.
That's more blasphemy right
Yeah,
there.
you, me, and Mars, right?
Yeah, we're roommates. It turns out. Oof.
Well, you and Brian were roommates in Sims 2, but
And they were roommates.
That's right. We were roommates in The Sims.
Yeah. That was Sims 2, right?
That was Sims 2, and we were trying to pick up chicks.
Oh my God, they were roommates.
And we wanted to make the chicks our roommates too, so then we could all be roommates.
Hey, we got a new guy.
Yeah, Mega K Knight is asking how we are doing good. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is, I think, I can't think of anything else I can add to the Deviltree story from that point. Only that.
So we can't make a long story longer?
No, I mean, I do know that Genocide Rob and myself went to the Devil's Tree ourselves one time previous to that trip,
did you
But-
climb the tree?
but it was uneventful. We just drove out there, we looked at the tree, no one showed up, we got in our car and we drove off. That's what I was expecting that night. That's what I always
Wait a
found.
minute. You didn't get in the car because you didn't get out.
No, that time we did get out and get in because there was no police.
No.
But that was the previous time. When Rob and I just went ourselves one evening. We got out, we got in, we left. No one came. It
Was this before or after torpedoes?
That was before torpedoes. Now the torpedo story was I had when I quit my job at Walmart and got a bank job working banker's hours 9 to 5. And
Is this up in Maine?
no, this was Jersey. I worked a bank job for my last year in Jersey before I moved up to Maine, and then I got a bank job up there. So
that was the foot in the door in the banking industry.
right. Well, my dad's high school and college buddy was a president of a bank, and so my dad said, "You want to get out of the retail business and work at a bank?" I said, "Yes." He goes, well, "I can get you an interview," and
And then you were a cashier. You said, "Wait a minute, this is retail banking."
Yeah, it was retail, but it was, there wasn't hiding from managers to try to look like you're stocking shelves. There was just sitting
no,
behind a
sure,
counter waiting for customers to come.
But in a bank, you want to stock the shelves in the bank vault, right?
well,
Money, 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 money.
I mean, the order would come in from the Fed, periodically to restock. But anyways, how many years have we all known each other? Well, Mars, you and I hung out in the Sailor Moon chat room on Undernet back
Yes,
in the.
but we didn't
early-
know each other.
We didn't. We knew. Well, you
No.
knew of me because I was infamous. I was
Yeah.
the infamous KTEL / freak out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
But in the show sense, I knew 2000. It was
Well, I think I started the show Halloween of 2005 when I first told this story, and so you might have listened to the show in the 05, 06 years. But I
Does
think
that
it
mean
was.
this is your anniversary show too?
What's that?
Does this mean this is an anniversary show too?
Oh yeah, every year we do this telling of the tree story. It's an anniversary show technically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't
that's
realize that.
how we But I think it was in 08 that you started calling into the show, or 09, and Brian and I knew each other in 08 because it was July 1st, 2008 was the day I started at Tharco. So that would be the day that you
Oh. Yeah.
stumbled over my desk and said, Nick and I usually go grab some lunch. Would you like to join us, or something like that? And or we usually go for a walk around lunch if you'd like to come. And so that was, that's how that started. And also, we were also roommates.
And they were roommates.
Actually, no, none of us were ever roommates with one another.
No, we weren't.
It makes for a good story, though.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Sorry, I have a new favorite sound effect that I added to the board this week. I love taking dated memes and playing them to death.
I mean,
But,
usually it's a soap opera one, and then it turns to something on Vine, and then it's something else.
Oh
and-
yes. And every now and then we throw Worf in there,
I am not a merry man.
No, he is
That
not.
was such a great episode.
Oh, my. Oh, by the way, speaking of Star Trek, what episode are you guys up to?
Well, we are now at the point where we are alternating between Deep Space Nine and Voyager episodes. And
But how far? I know you were getting into that. The last we spoke of it. How far are you?
Well, we're at the point. Well, I know we saw an episode in Deep Space Nine where Garrick blew up his shop because someone was trying to kill him, and then he rejoined them because the Romulans and the Cardassians are doing this joint attack on the Founders, but it was a trap, and so that was the last one we saw there, and I forget what the last Voyager episode we saw was, but whatever one aired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you said Voyager. I was thinking of Next Generation. So you switched from Next Generation to finish that, and now we're in the Voyager Plus.
Right. Well, I'm watching them. I'm watching them air date order. So
Yeah.
now that we finished Next Generation, Voyager started, and Voyager and Deep Space Nine would air their episodes on the same day, but they were on two different networks. So those we just find the two that are the same day. We watch them Saturday and Sunday, in the same weekend. So that's yeah. So that's what I've been doing. So, anyways, where was I? So I stopped working at the Walmart, and after I stopped working at the Walmart, about a few months later, I reached out to some of the guys I was friends with at Walmart because we used to just, joke around every day while we're working. And, it was Andrew and James, and I think there was another guy with us. And so I said, hey, why don't we all go hang out one night? And they're like, well, what should we do? And I was like, well, we always joked about like going out to Torpedoes and, tipping the strippers. Well, actually, New Jersey had a thing that bars that served alcohol couldn't have nudes, and clubs that had nudes couldn't have alcohol. So it was a bikini bar. So the dancers were all dancing in bikinis, and you would tip them the dollars, and they would kind of push their breasts up around the dollar while you slide it over. So that was kind of lame, but kind of fun. Especially if you're a.
That's horrible. What if they got paper cuts that way?
They did not get paper cuts, and the thing was,
They're very careful.
And if you ran out of singles, they'd be more than happy to count out 20 singles for your 20 for you. They had a big wad. They pull right out. There you go, 20. I'll take that. And
So
they
the
were
roll of
pulling
pennies
it
was
in.
A no.
What's that?
The roll of pennies was a no.
No, they were roll of pennies. No.
Oh.
I did try to get them to reach into my pocket for a roll of pennies. No, I did not.
Oh.
That was.
That's a different roll of pennies.
I don't know how
Dang.
I don't know how they do that in Canada with the dollar coins. I'm not sure how you but any.
Yeah, they don't take the loonies or the toonies, huh?
I don't think it works that way. I've heard that you could buy, like, you buy slips of paper at a Canadian titty bar, and that way you have like your fake dollars that then the dancers can trade back in for the cash afterwards.
Oh, it's like a casino.
Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, like a casino.
A player's card, right?
There you go. So anyways, I'm like, let's all go hang out some night. So we all decide to go hang out. So we go and we meet at a central location nearby to us, and one of us drives to the Torpedoes because I think it was like a lot of street parking in the area, and we didn't want to have too many cars, and so we all piled into Andrew's car, and we drive out to Torpedoes, and we go there. We find 3 stools in the bar, and it was. That was the last time I went to an establishment like that, because that's when it was like, they will get every last dollar they can get out of that wallet, because they just come up to you, do a little dance, lean over, and you're pretty much obligated to give them $1. Not to mention the beer's not cheap. And the more you're drinking the beer, the less you're thinking about how often they come around. I mean, and they were moving fast. Stool, lean over. Next stool, lean over. So, like, 2 minutes later, you see the same person leaning over for another $1. And it's like, damn, I just gave you $5 in the past 5 minutes. But you're not thinking about it because it's like, yeah. And then, we're all talking about, well, gee, should we get lap dances to, end this night with a bang? And I think James and Andrew, they each got a lap dance. And I thought about getting a lap dance. So like I said, I was down to my last $20. Lap dance was $20. And generally, it's polite to tip after a lap dance to show your appreciation for the lap dance. And that would be, I wouldn't want to insult them by that. So and plus I was way too shy. I could barely look. I was basically doing the turn my head, looking really shy, tipping the girls because I was like just really awkward. It was an awkward thing. I enjoyed it, but it was awkward.
Did they take the Walmart gift cards or put one there and there?
I didn't think to try that. So after a night of blowing all our cash except for my last 20 at Torpedoes, we get back into Andrew's car. Andrew pulls out, and not 2 seconds after we pull out on the road, flashing lights from behind us. We get pulled over, and we're like, "Oh,
so it's basically a trap on the way out.
What is going on here?" And it turns out what happened was Andrew's light switch had 2 clicks to get the headlights on, but he only clicked 1, so he only had the parking lights on. To do it properly. So he got a ticket for failing to put on his headlights at night. But I remember that's harsh. That was a fun conversation. The officer goes, "Where are you guys coming from?" Andrew goes, "Oh, we were just coming back from this restaurant down the street there. It's called Torpedoes." And I'm like, "That's not a restaurant. Nice try, but that's the cop didn't say that." But
he goes, "I wonder which buffet you were at."
They do serve food, right?
I don't know. I know they serve beer. I didn't see. Maybe they have bar food. I didn't see anyone eating burgers though. But
they weren't there to eat burgers.
To be honest, there's a place.
And what time of day was that?
It was evening. It was night. I mean, it was dark. It was
after like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, probably around there.
Yeah, so it's probably too late for actually eating.
So anyways, he got a ticket for that. They didn't let him off with a warning, and so it was a pretty bummer end to the night. But anyways, that is the Torpedo story. I don't know how much we can embellish that story and make that an annual thing, but that was the last time I hung out with those guys.
And then the next topic is who we're going to raid.
Yeah, because once again, this has been another fun-filled edition of
Insert Title here.
But we do try to be educational here on this show, and I think we've all learned a whole lot here. So, Mars, what have you learned this evening?
I've learned that trees are like eggs.
And Brian, what have you learned this evening?
I learned that we can make a long story even longer.
And I learned that, probably somewhere in an alternate universe, we're all roommates.
And they were roommates.
And we're just all living in an apartment together.
Living large.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were roommates.
But and I also learned that Devil's Tree is
Still
barely a
there.
tree anymore, and
But it's still there.
it's still there. I think it is, but
Oh, looks like it.
also that picture's like 3 years old at this point. And Sparky writes in, I learned that Johnny has an obsession with tape measures. If Johnny ever comes to your house, hide all your tape measure devices. No, I already have all I need.
I have
But
two.
anyways, let's go see who is live right now to raid. And let's see. We got some options here.
Oh, you know what? There is another Devil's Tree in South Villanova Road, Point St. Lucia. Hang on.
You know what's starting up
Florida.
right now? You know what's starting
It's in
up
Florida.
in Florida?
What's starting?
There's another Devil's Tree.
The Deadpool is going live right now. So
Huh?
we
Is
got
this
we
a
got
Halloween episode?
it probably is a Halloween episode. I wonder what he's going to dress up as.
Oh,
I don't know. I personally I would love to see Deadpool try to dress up with a cheeseburger costume over his Deadpool costume for Halloween. That right there, I think would win the internet. But we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna raid the Deadpool show, and we're gonna say Happy Halloween to him, and we're gonna see if he's gonna go hang out in any trees or anything like that. So, anyways, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll be back here, same time, same place next week. So you come on back, and maybe we'll have a sponsorship deal by then, but probably
Oh,
not. All right.
maybe.
Good night.
Well, no.
Right.
I think you could. After all, this is a professional show, not an amateur show. Right?
All right. We are rated.
Yeah.
Now he's still doing pre-show stuff. But all right.
And
See
I
you
got
guys.
a ad for a railroad, or
Yeah,
is that the
that's-
show?
That's the show. All right. Okay.
Amtrak. Amtrak is the sponsor,
There you go. All right.
and now it's a freight train.